make some noise. How many of you have ever, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I like. Yo, we get lit up in Anchor.
It's your boy.
We're not afraid to make some
it's
noise.
Your boy.
We're not afraid. Last week, we had a miniature dance party. I don't know if you were here. It was, you had a poor puppy. Her poor dog was so sick, and she was worried about her. I was worried too, all right? I want you to know I was worried about your little doggy. But man, we have a party. We celebrate Jesus up in this Joker. We're not afraid to get loud about Jesus. We're proud of who he is and what he has done for us. And man, that is cause for celebration. That is cause for celebration, just Jesus, who he is. I don't know if you guys ever, if you watched the Super Bowl party, I call it the party, the Super Bowl halftime show. Chloe caught me. She told me it's not a party, it's the halftime show. So anybody watch the halftime show? If I could get like a cup of water. I've got a cup back there right next to anybody. Awesome. Super Bowl show, awesome. When G.O.A.T came out and the crowd just went wild. They made the amazing noise. Why? Because G.O.A.T, believe it or not, y'all probably had to Google who Justin Timberlake was. Just like the selfie kid, that's what he was doing. If you don't know, he was actually Googling who is Justin Timberlake. He is the greatest of all time. He and Bruno Mars, they go hand in hand. So in pop culture and everything. And but the thing is, people make noise for who the greatest is. Maybe when your favorite football player or maybe your favorite actor, I don't know, what you got? Who's the greatest of all time? Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So we go crazy, we go wild. Maybe some of you, it's Hannah Montana. I don't know, Miley Cyrus. Maybe that's your favorite. It's the Jonas Brothers. I don't know. Who's in now? Huh? What? Okay, soccer guys. Huh? Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Okay, so he's awesome. He's awesome, man. And we go crazy over him. And we celebrate and we get wild. And man, I believe that as Christians, we're supposed to, man, Jesus is the greatest of all time. And we're supposed to go crazy and go wild and celebrate who Jesus is. I believe that with everything inside of me. But we can just get loud about certain things from the world. But then when it comes to things in Christianity, when it comes to, thank you, baby, she's awesome. That's my Valentine. That's my boo right there. 2 years we've been married. All you single Pringles, it's all right. It's all right. Jesus has somebody for you, okay? Don't worry. You don't have to worry. He's got your back. Turn to your neighbor, tell him he's got your back. He's got your back. No, but really, we can get loud when things, we want to draw attention. Whoa. Y'all see that? I have reflex skills like a ninja. Y'all don't mess with Pastor Michael. Boom, roasted. So check this out. We were one time, Chloe and I, we were at a restaurant. We were at the burrito place right now. I can't believe I called it the burrito place. Poblanos. Okay, we were at Poblanos, and we love it there. We go there. The first time we went there, it said Taco Tuesday on the sign, and I'm like, this is one of those Tex-Mex places. I ain't about this Taco Tuesday, what is this, Taco Bell? So we left, and then we ended up, someone took us there, and we loved it. I'm like, why didn't we? We've been missing out for so long. So we went there, and we're eating our dinner, just going to town. Man, it's good. Loving this dinner. And then these EMTs just started casually walking in nonchalantly, and I'm like, oh, okay, EMTs are coming to get food. No, they pick up a dude, put him on a stretcher, and take him out to the ambulance. All while I'm eating, and I'm like, babe, what's going on? You see this? You see what I'm seeing? And we're we just keep on eating, and this person is dying in front of us, and we're just eating our food. And I'm like, what the heck? I feel like that's so crazy to me that we all through all that there was this condition that this person had, and this person was suffering and they had a condition, but here we are, we're just eating our meal, and people all around us, they're not even They're not even noticing this person who's dying right there. And I feel like we can do this in our lives. We can see we walk past people every day. And I'm telling you, we walk past people with conditions every single day, with serious illnesses every single day. We walk past people, when you're walking through your hallways in your schools, you're walking past a condition. And I want you to understand that, like a heart condition. A heart that is having a heart attack or someone who's having a stroke, it's the same thing. You're walking past people every day. There is a heart that is losing blood pressure. There is a person who is dying. There are things that are going on all around us. And here we are. We just go through our days just eating our food, just enjoying life in general. And there are people around us. And I'm telling you, you walk through your hallways in school, and it's almost like you just completely miss what's happening around you. There are people all around us, broken and battered, and their lives are bruised, and there's a condition. This heart is bleeding out. They're crying out. They're hurting. They're lost. They need our help. We walk past brokenness. We walk past hurt, and yet there's no sense of urgency inside of us. There's no sense of urgency inside of us as we see the world around us crumbling and going farther and farther away from Jesus. And it's just like Chloe and I in that restaurant, just going about our business. There are people in your schools who are hurting. There are people who are lonely. There are people who sit all by themselves at the lunch table. There are people who are today, there was someone probably in your school who thought about committing suicide. I don't want that reality to set in. You know, with what happened in Broward County with the shooting, you know, what I thought was, all of these people, there were 17 people killed. And I wonder, did they know Jesus? Did they know who Jesus was? And it pains my heart to think that there may have been someone who was murdered that day, who was killed, who didn't know who Jesus was. And I wonder, was there a Christian who passed right by them and could have made a difference, could have made an eternal difference in the life of somebody? But every day we walk past these people who are hurting, who are broken, who are in distress. The world is crying out, help me, help me. And yet not an eyelash is batted. Without a flinch, we continue on our merry way. Do you realize that there are people in the world who need your help? I wonder if do you realize that, the seriousness of the reality that there are people in the world who need your help? Or have you just become indifferent to the fact that they need your help? There are people in your schools who need what you have, and yet do we ever stop to investigate? Do we ever stop to check in on other people? Check in on the issues, or do you even notice? Do you even notice the issues? Has the brokenness of the world just become such a commonplace thing that you just make the excuse like, that's not really my job. There's just so much that's going on. You list off the sporting things, the sporting events that you have. You list off all the different excuses that you might have for why you aren't you can't help, you can't cause a change in this person's life or whatever it is, and the excuses can pile up, and we can put it off and say, that's not my job, that's somebody else's job, that's your job, Pastor Michael, that's Chloe's job, it's not my job, and can we just begin to lay up all of these excuses and say, like me that night, I'm eating, it looks like they're taking care of this person, there's not really anything that I should be doing. Has it just become such a commonplace experience, the brokenness around you, that it becomes your normal? Is brokenness your normal? Has it become our normal to see people hurting and to see people bruised? My brother, he works in the hospital, so he sees, he would see people that were hit by trucks and all these different things, and it become completely normal, and blood became completely natural to him. But it's not that way for me. When I see blood, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. But when Chloe sees an injury or something, if I get injured at work, I'm afraid to show it to Chloe. I hide it from her. The last time I split my hand open, I didn't want to show Chloe. I wasn't going to do it. I didn't even tell her about it because I was afraid she was going to freak out and be like, you need to get stitches. And I'm like, I don't need stitches. I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? This is commonplace. It's okay for me because it happens all the time. And I feel like sometimes in our lives, we can see things all around us. We can see people who are hurting. We can see people who are broken. We can see the lonely person sitting at the cafeteria table day after day. And it becomes such a commonplace thing for us, we don't even notice it. And what's more, do we even care? Do we even take the time to care about the brokenness? Or has it just become, man, that's just normal. That's just how it is. Have you become silent? Have you become silent in the face of pain? Is it almost like you have a high pain tolerance, but you just have a high pain tolerance? It's like these movies. I used to watch, I watched The Walking Dead. Okay, don't hate me. Don't be like, you're not a Christian because you watch The Walking Dead or whatever. Okay, I like watching it. I know it's okay. So like there's a lot of gore. Like there's a lot of blood, okay? Like, and then you think like, oh, there couldn't possibly, and then there's more. Like, it just keeps on happening. But like, I remember when I first watched it, I was like, oh my God, like closing my eyes, like it's nasty. But like over time, like, I'm like, all right, I'm used to it by now. But like, I'm used to seeing it. Did you get that? Did you catch that? Are you used to seeing it, so used to seeing that it's like it's normal? Like it's a completely normal part of your life. Are you silent in the face of pain? Have you created inside of yourself a tolerance to the pain that you see? I hope this is not the case. I hope that everyone in this room has a sense of the reality of what's going on in the world, the reality of the heart condition. And I hope that you have the heart to take initiative. I hope that someone in this room has the sense to run to the alarm and pull the alarm. I hope that someone in this room, when you see something that's going on, the alarm bells are going off inside of your head. I hope someone in this room has the sense to dial 911 in the face of an emergency. I hope someone has the sense to make some noise. Nehemiah is a passage in Scripture. Nehemiah is in the Old Testament. And basically what has happened is Nehemiah is the servant to a king in a different land, in a different country. He's from the people of Judah, the tribe of Judah. He's from Jerusalem, and that is his place. It's his people, but he's not living there. And then he hears someone talks to him about what's going on back at Jerusalem, back in his hometown, and about how bad things have happened in his hometown. Check this out, Nehemiah 1:3-4. And they said to me, the remnant there in the province who had survived the exile is in great trouble and shame. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down. The wall is broken, and its gates are destroyed by fire. As soon as I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned for days, and I continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. He broke down the minute he heard the words that his hometown had been broken, that there was a brokenness. He began to weep. And I wonder, as I'm speaking to you tonight, do you even have the heart inside of you? As I talk to you about I pray that there are people in your mind right now who are coming to mind, and you are thinking about the brokenness of those people, of your friends, the brokenness of people who are in your schools, and you care for them. I pray that there's something inside of you that has the heart that Nehemiah has, that he begins to weep and pray to God about the situation he had heard. Moving on, in the 20th, it goes on to say that Nehemiah, he's a servant to this king, and it says that he took up the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had not been sad in his presence, and the king said to me, so why is your face sad, seeing you are not sick? This is nothing but sadness of the heart. Then I was very much afraid. I said to the king, let the king live forever. Why should not my face be sad when the city, the place of my father's graves, lies in ruins, and its gates have been destroyed by fire? Then the king said to me, what are you requesting? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's graves, that I may rebuild it. And the king said to me, the queen sitting beside him, how long will you be gone? When will you return? So it pleased the king to send me me when I had given him a time. And I said to the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given to me, to the governors of the province beyond the river, that they may let me pass through until I come to Judah. And a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give the timber to make beams for the gates of the fortress of the temple, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall occupy. And the king granted me what I asked for the good hand of my God was upon me. Now, I've taken a CPR course before in first aid, and so I've learned, you gotta push on the person's chest to the stay alive, stay. Okay, so I know all about how to I know all about how to revive a person and all that. So y'all are in good hands, okay? I got my CPR AED certification, so you guys are good. So don't worry, if you pass out from awesomeness, I'll take care of you. So anyway, in this thing, what they tell you, one of the first things that you're supposed to do, you're supposed to remain calm. Okay, they're remain calm. How are you supposed to, anyway? So you're supposed to remain calm. This person is dying, they're choking, they're, whatever is going on. They're caught, got a piece of food stuck in their throat, whatever. You got to give them the, Heimlich maneuver, whatever. So here they go. Stay calm, remain calm. Make sure that you call for help. You gotta be either you pull out your phone and you dial 911, or you tell somebody else, hey, you right there, you dial 911. So make sure that you do. The junk was that? All right. Thank you. I'll be here all night. So you have to make sure that you dial 911 or whatever. In an emergency, you have to make some noise. You got to start talking. You have to get to the person who can help this person, because you can only help them so much. You're not the person who can really, truly bring them back to life. You need to have a person, an EMT, come to shock them back to life. And so you're supposed to dial 911. You're supposed to start talking. You got to make some noise. Hey, over here, we need help. We need you to come. We need something going on. I don't have everything this person needs. And you have to start making some noise. In an emergency, you have to make noise. You can't just remain silent and expect help. You can't just go, okay, look at this person's on the ground. I'm just going to pray for this person right now. And that's about all I'm gonna do. You can't really. You gotta make. You can't just expect. You can't just stand back and say, well, you know what? I'm not really the person who can take care of this. So I'm about to dip. No, you can't do that. That would be wrong. All right. Look at what Nehemiah does in this situation. He prays to God. He starts making some noise. He doesn't just hear about what's going on. He doesn't just hear about how the gates have been destroyed. He doesn't just hear about the brokenness in that city. He doesn't just hear about what the hurting that the people are going through, but he begins to make some noise. He begins to start talking about it, and he goes on to he goes to people who can do something about it. He just doesn't hear about the people in pain. He takes measures to help. He starts to make some noise. Look at your neighbor and tell him, make some noise. Make some noise. I feel like the reason most problems don't get resolved is because they aren't talked about. I feel like the reason that maybe some of you, there are issues in your own life, and you're like, I really wish this would be resolved. I really wish that something would happen here. But the problem is they don't get talked about. You don't pray about them. You don't take the time to call out for help. You don't take the time to the measures that need to be made for the issues to be resolved. I feel like the reason most problems don't get resolved is because they're not talked about. We walk past hurting people. We walk past hurting people in school. We walk past hurting people in our home. We walk past these hurting people just in the city in general, and we don't take the time to talk about it enough to God. We don't take the time to pray about it. We have the answer to their problem, but we remain silent. We don't take the time to talk about it. Nehemiah 2, 11 through 13, and then 17 through 18 says this. So I went to Jerusalem, and it was, you know what, before I go on, why don't you look at your neighbor, tell him, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk to me about it. I feel like there's something about a relationship that can just bring healing. And there's something about just talking. See, because when Chloe and I, when we have an issue, what do we say to each other? Talk about it. What's going on? If I just ignore the fact that there's an issue in her life, if I just ignore it, if I just give her the cold shoulder, if I turn my back on my wife, the issue won't get resolved. So what do I say? I say, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk to me about it. Let's work this out. And I feel like the relationships that you have with the people in your schools, if you could just get them to talk about it. If you could just get them to talk about it, just for a minute, just for a few seconds, and the hope that it lies inside of you would be explained to them. That's why 1 Peter 3:15 says, always be ready to give an answer to the hope that lies within. Do you know about the hope that lies inside of you? It's the hope of Jesus. He gave you the gift of salvation. But it wasn't a gift that was given to you that was supposed to remain inside of you, but it's to go to other people. Always be ready to give an answer for the hope that is inside of you. Talk about it. Talk about it. Just talk to your neighbor for a second. Just do it again. I like it when you talk to each other. Say, talk about it. Talk about it. Say, make some noise. Make some noise. That's what I'm talking about. I don't like it when y'all are just quiet and silent the entire time, but I like when you talk to me, okay? Holla back, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I like. I like when you guys talk about it and tweet about it, okay? What are you tweeting about? Y'all are on your Twitter, tweet. Anyway, so we have the answer to the problems. We have the answer. We have the answer to their problems, but we remain silent. Talk about it. Talk about it. Nehemiah 2:11. So I went to Jerusalem and was there 3 days. So I went to Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the place where the walls had been broken down, where there was brokenness and there was hurting. So I went to Jerusalem and was there 3 days. Then I arose in the night, I and a few men with me. And I told no one what my God had put into my heart to do for Jerusalem. There was no animal with me, but the one on which I rode. So I went out by night by the valley gate to the dragon spring and to the dung gate. And I inspected the walls of Jerusalem. And I inspected the walls of Jerusalem that were broken down and its gates that had been destroyed. So I inspected the walls. Then I said to them, you see the trouble we are in, how Jerusalem lies in ruins. You see it. How Jerusalem lies in ruins with its gates burned. Come, let us build the wall of Jerusalem, that we may no longer suffer derision. And I told them of the hand of my God that had been upon me for good, and also of the words that the king had spoken to me. And they said, let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for the good work. When Chloe and I go to the gym, because we be working out, y'all, trying to get that figure, okay? Trying to watch my figure so I can't, I eat anything. We had chocolate fondue last night. It was phenomenal. Anyway, when we go to the gym and we're working out, I have this app on my phone, and it gives us the workout of the day. It's called a WOD. And I'll pull it up. Before we go to the gym, I pull up my WOD, and I'm looking at the workouts, and it'll be something like today, for instance, pull up and toes to bar. And I'm like, pull up. Okay, I know what a pull up is. All right, it's not the thing that the babies wear. It's a pull up bar. Okay, so I know what the pull up is, but I'm like, toes to bar. Y'all know what a toes to bar is? No, you know what it is? Okay, I don't understand what she's talking about. Okay, toes up to the bar. I get it. It kind of makes sense to me. But what do I do when I don't know how to do something that I need to do, that I don't know the proper form of it? I look it up on the YouTube, okay? I look it up on the YouTube. You know what I'm talking about? When I need to learn something, when someone talks to me about something, I look it up on the YouTube. I search it on Google, because I got to see how to do it. See, if I don't see it, then I don't really fully. Anybody else just a visual learner? Like your teachers might try to explain something to you, but it's like, could you walk it through me, please? Walk it through with me, okay? I got to see it in order to understand it, because if I don't see it, I'm not going to fully understand exactly how it is. So that's what I'll do. I'll look it up on the YouTubes, and I'll look up this workout. Okay, if I needed to do a snatch squat, I'll look up how to properly do a snatch. I'll look at the proper form. Y'all, we talked about proper form last week. I hope you understand. Anyway, so we look it up and we're checking it out. I'm looking at all these videos because And then when I watch the video, I go, okay, I understand now. I get it now. I have to see it in order to get it. The same is true for you. I could tell you all about how all these people in your schools need Jesus. I could go on and on. I could talk till I'm blue in the face about how there are hurting people out there, about how there are people in different countries who need to know about Jesus. But until you go and you see it for yourself, you'll never truly understand it. Until you walk into your school and see the person who sits at the table alone. Until you see it. See, it says that Nehemiah went and he inspected it. He heard about it. That's awesome. But he had to see it for himself. And then he came back and he said, now I understand. Now I get it now. I get it now. I wonder, will you see it tomorrow? Will you walk through your hallways differently? Will you walk through your hallways differently? You have to act different. You have to learn how to act different. See Nehemiah, when he heard about what had happened, he was normally a very happy person, but suddenly he became different. He had a sad look on his face. And why shouldn't he look sad when you learn about all the damage? But he acted differently. You got to act differently. Are you acting the same as everybody else? Because acting the same as everybody else isn't going to fix the situation, but it's when you can learn how to act differently. It's when you learn, okay, I get it now. I understand. I see the brokenness. The brokenness will never be healed if you act the same as you've always acted. But if you can learn how to, because I saw this sign one time when I was driving down 41. I saw it up. Maybe you've seen it before. It says, old ways won't open new doors. And the same is true in your school. If you don't see the brokenness, if you don't see it for yourself, and if you don't act differently, then those doors will never open up. You'll never be able to talk about it. You'll never be able to talk about it if you don't learn how to act differently. I wonder, will you see it tomorrow? Will you walk your hallways differently? Will you learn how to look at things differently? Ask your neighbor, ask him, do you get it? Do you understand it? Do you get it? You know, in all this passage, the thing that I find the most troubling is the people who are in the village, because the people were there the entire time. It's not like this place was completely vacant and completely empty, but there were people who were in the village. Do you get that? They were in the brokenness. They saw the gates that were burned. They saw the brokenness of the wall, and every single day they were just walking right past all of it. They weren't doing anything about it. Maybe some of them were like, wow, I really wish that this gate would be fixed. I really wish that, we're completely vulnerable here. We could be attacked at any moment. Something could happen. A deer could trample my vegetables. But I wish someone would take care of it. But they didn't do anything about it. They just kept on. I remember when I was growing up, at home with my parents, I was kind of a slob, okay? Don't judge me. Y'all are probably nasty, have your underwear all over the room and stuff. So I'm like, I used to have, I would pile up clothes like crazy. Like they would just be, and then my mom would break down and fix it for me. And I'm like, awesome. It was awesome living at home because my mom took care of everything. So but here's the thing. I used to have this pile of towels. Chloe called it Towel Mountain, okay? And she used to make fun of me for Towel Mountain. But she made sure that now that we're living together, now that we're married, Towel Mountain had to stay behind, okay? Towel Mountain couldn't keep going. She's like, things are gonna change, all right? Towel Mountain is no longer a thing, all right? And I would just live in this I loved it. It's not that I loved it. I just whatever. I didn't care about the mess. Anybody in here, your mom is like, you need to keep your room clean. You're like, I don't even care that it's messy. It's not a big deal to me. And it's like you want it clean, then you can clean it, okay? Because I'm not about to clean this thing up. So, but here's the thing. I was fine with it. I was just indifferent. I'm like, you know what indifferent means? I don't care. Whatever. It's not a big deal to me. But I was living inside of the filth. And the thing, here's the thing. I wonder, are you doing the same thing in your schools? Are you just indifferent? You see all the filth, you see the junk, you see how people act in your schools, the nastiness, people making out by the lockers, whatever, I don't know. Y'all, teenagers do crazy things nowadays, but are you just kind of like, whatever, no big deal. If somebody wants this cleaned up, they can come clean it up. Are you completely indifferent to the fact that there are people who are hurting and broken around you? And the people in the village, they were completely indifferent. Maybe they were like, I wish someone would do something about this, but whatever. Somebody else can do something if they want to. I don't care. It's so troubling to me. I feel like in this passage, the people were just walking past the rubble. Everyone couldn't care less about the problem. They were fine with living in that state that they were in. There was one person who saw the real issue. There was one person who saw the real issue. See, Nehemiah, he saw the real issue. And it wasn't the supply. See, because all these people were looking around and they're like, they're probably thinking, I don't have what it takes. I don't have the money to fix these walls. I don't really have the manpower. They're just indifferent. Like, I don't think maybe if somebody else could come in and step up and do this thing. And Nehemiah saw the real issue. See, because he had the supply. He talked to the king. The king gave him, he had a king's supply of timber. He had a king's supply of money. He had a king's supply. He had an army that was coming with him. He knew that the supply was there, but he saw the real issue. The real issue wasn't a supply issue. Maybe some of you walk into your schools and you're like, I don't have what it takes. I see it. I mean, it's there, but I'm not going to be able to do anything about this. And the truth of the matter is that you can do something about it. You do have the supply. You do have a king's supply, and it's inside of you. And Nehemiah knew that he had the king's supply. And the problem wasn't that this wasn't a supply issue. It wasn't a supply issue. The issue was that there was a bunch of people who were indifferent to the brokenness that surrounded him. They were fine with the mess. They couldn't care less. Do you care enough? That's the real issue. Do you care enough? Do you care enough about the brokenness surrounding your school? Do you care enough? The issue isn't really a supply issue. Because if you have Jesus inside of you, then you already have everything that you need. It's not a supply issue. The issue isn't the indifference of Christians. The issue isn't the brokenness that's in the world today, but it's the indifference of Christians. It's the indifference of Christians in the world. We have a king's supply, but do we care enough? The real issue plaguing the world isn't the brokenness. It's the indifference of Christians. There's a supply, but do you care enough? Sometimes it's really just super easy to become overwhelmed with how much work that has to be taking place. And I'm sure the people in the room, in the situation in Jerusalem, looked and they saw all this brokenness around them, and they were probably like, there's so much here that needs to take place. There's so much healing that needs to take place. And it can become overwhelming. It's like, I don't think I have enough of what it takes, and so they don't even go through the process. They don't even try. It's so easy to say that's somebody else's job, that somebody else will take care of it. Somebody else will. You see the kid and you're like, maybe somebody else could sit with this kid today. Or you see someone crying and you go, that's not really my job. Maybe it would be awkward, and maybe somebody else will talk to them about it. Maybe somebody else will talk to them. Maybe somebody else will take care of it. And it becomes very easy to excuse yourself and say, that's not really my job. I don't know this person well enough. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. I don't feel like it. It's very easy to begin to make excuses, and we can become so indifferent. We can say, it's not my job. I don't really care. It's not really that big of a deal. And the problem can be not so much the holes in the wall. The problem can be not so much that there are holes in the wall, that there's brokenness. The problem can become that we don't care about it. Do you care enough? Do you care enough? It's a troubling question. And Chloe, you can come up here. The issue isn't so much a supply issue. It's a sound issue. It's a sound issue. The issue isn't so much a supply issue, because we can see that Nehemiah had a king's supply. that the people there, they had a king's supply. And the issue wasn't so much a supply issue, but it was a sound issue. A sound issue. Because you make noise for what you care about. When you see people, when the Eagles were playing in the Super Bowl, y'all, I'm sure y'all went crazy. You know what I'm talking about? You probably went absolutely wild and crazy during that game when your favorite musician is playing. Maybe you're riding in a car with one of your friends and you crank your favorite musician up on the stereo and you're going crazy and you're loud because you care about that. Because you care about that. It's a sound issue. When you care about something, you make noise. When you care about a musician, you sing along with them and you go crazy and you make as much noise as you possibly can. You make as much noise. You tweet as much as you possibly can about K-pop. You do whatever. You're going crazy and you can be as loud as you possibly can want to be about the things that you care about. And that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. I'm going to set up a little something here for you. Just a little illustration. And here's the thing about noise and about sound. If you could mute that for a minute. You make noise for what you care about. I'm about to play a song for you. And the source, I'm playing it right now. It's playing. Leave it muted for a second. I'm playing it. I'm turning the volume up as loud as I possibly can, and this is the source for what you need to hear. What's the problem? It's muted. It's not talking. It's not saying anything. There's a source. The problem, and here's the thing, when a sound man's back there, and he doesn't hear something coming through the sound that he wants to come through the sound, you kind of make some investigations as to see what's going on. So the first thing you do, you'll go through the process of checking, okay, is it plugged in? Yes, it's plugged in. Is it playing? Yes, it's playing. Is the sound on the source? Yes, the sound is on the source. And you'll track the line, and the line is good. Yeah, it's good. Everything's plugged in. Everything's okay here. The source is fine, but what's the problem? The source is not the problem. The problem is that it's muted. That it's muted. I have a message that I want to get across to you, but the problem is because it's muted, you can't hear it. And I wonder, is the same thing happening to you? Is the same thing happening to people in your schools? There is a message that needs to get across to them. And the problem isn't the source. The problem isn't the supply. The supply is on the inside. It's Jesus. It's inside of you. There's enough to go around for everybody. But the problem isn't the supply. The problem is the sound. You're silent. You don't talk about it. And I'm here to tell you, you talk about what you care about. How do I know? Because I've been on Twitter and I've been on Instagram. And whenever there's an issue, whenever there's a political opinion, it gets posted on Twitter, it gets posted on Facebook, it gets posted. And the sound is out there. But I wonder, is there a sound issue in your life? Have you been talking about it? Go ahead and unmute it for a second. It almost worked. Okay, we do have actually an issue with this wire, but I'm here to tell you, check this out. It is playing. The source is playing. Imagine if this was you in your school. The source was coming through from you, going through you, and displayed for everybody around you. Telling them about the answer. It's inside of you. The source is there. The supply is there. But is the sound on in your life? Do you talk about it? Do you talk about it? Why don't you just bow your head? You can play now. You can turn this off. I wonder, in your life, is the sound on? Just bow your heads and close your eyes for a moment. Do you care enough? Do you care enough about the people in your schools? Do you care enough about the people in your family to talk to them about it? I wonder if there's a person in your mind tonight, even as I was speaking, that God brought up to you, to your attention tonight. Someone who needs the message that is inside of you. But out of fear, out of indifference, you've in the past said it's somebody else's problem, it's somebody else's issue. If they want it taken care of, then they can have it taken care of. I wonder if tomorrow you would say, I'm going to investigate. I'm going to investigate. I need to see this for myself. I need to see the brokenness for myself. I have a desire in my heart to see it. I don't want to just stand by and hear all about all the brokenness in the world and about how people need Jesus. I don't want to just stand by, but I want to do something about it. I wonder if there's anyone in this room who would have the heart inside of them to say, I want to see people healed. The source is inside of you. The supply is inside of you. And I wonder tonight, is there anyone in this room who says tomorrow, the next day, whatever it's going to take, I'm going to make some noise about Jesus. There are people out there making so much noise. The devil is getting so loud. And I wonder if Christians are going to match the noise, if they're going to exceed that. If that's you in this room tonight, you would say, you know what, I'm gonna investigate, I'm gonna see what's going on, and when I see it, I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna make some noise. I'm gonna begin to build relationships with people who are hurting, people who are broken, people who need to know about Jesus, and I'm gonna find a way, whatever it is, to talk to them about it. If that's you in this room tonight, I just want to know who you are because I want to pray for you. If that's you in this room, on the count of 3, I just want you to look up at me. 1, I'm going to investigate. I want to see people who are hurting. 2, and I'm going to make some noise. I'm going to talk to them about it. 3, look up at me. Look up at me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jesus, I pray over these young people, Father, who are making dedications to talking about you, God, to their friends who are making declarations, who are going to be making declarations to faith in their schools, Father. They're going to make declarations of who you are, God, that you are an incredible person who can heal. Father, I pray that there would be people in this room tonight, young people who would be able to take a stand, Father, and they would start talking about it. They have the healer inside of them. They have the source inside of them. And they're no longer going to be silent, but they're going to speak out. Jesus, I pray that over them in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you guys for coming this week. I pray over you that you would have a heart that would care. That you wouldn't just walk out of this room and go, that was great, but somebody else is going to take care of it. You would take ownership. You would take ownership over Jesus who's inside of you. You wouldn't be trying to hide it or be ashamed of who he is, but you would begin to speak out. There are people who need you. You talk about what you care about. And I wonder, do you care enough to talk about him? I want you to, here's what I want you guys to do this week. Just find one person. Or next week, maybe tomorrow. Make it a commitment that tomorrow, find one person, just one person, and talk to them. Just talk to them. So be someone different, someone who you just feel, man, just pray that God will reveal to you a person that needs to know, just needs comfort. Maybe not even, it doesn't even have to be all about Jesus. You don't have to walk up to him and be like, excuse me, do you know who Jesus is? Like if God leads you to do that, then do it. But if even just building a relationship and saying, man, how are you? How are things? And trying to get in a little bit deeper. Or people that maybe your friends who you just know are going through a tough, troubling time, and maybe you've just kind of didn't really want to talk about it because it's kind of a tough issue, or you don't even want to begin to get into the issue because it would take a long time and you want to watch Netflix. Whatever it is, but just take some time. One person, and you just talk to them about the issues that they're going through. talk about it and bring up the hope that lies inside of you. Would you guys do that this week? Amen? Amen. Awesome. You guys have a good time. Thanks for coming. Talk to your friends about Anchored. Like, hello, we got a lit service up in here.